Good afternoon, weapons, or good morning, or wherever it is that you're listening from. So today, 5 minutes with Chris, little live interview, and we're going to talk about core training. So core is your torso, all right, or abs, or obliques, or let's find out what it is. So I'm going to get Chris on the line, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about his version. Thinks is the best way to train your core. So, here he is.
Tom, how are you?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good.
Are you having a good day?
Yeah, just bouncing around, about to do some birthday shopping for my youngest daughter and my wife. So we'll jump in and get started.
Okay, cool. What is it? Both their birthdays on the same day?
3 days apart.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Well, say happy birthday for them. All right, so core training. Talk to me, brother. What is it? Tell me about it.
Sure. Look, this is one of the most overused concepts in fitness. The term has almost become redundant. And when we talk about core, you've got to break it down into specific areas. So when we talk about the core in the traditional sense, we're thinking abdominal core. We're thinking, as you just mentioned then, your deep core stabilizing muscles that are on the anterior aspect of your spine, your external ab muscles, your obliques, your QL, your lower back muscle, etc. They fit into an overall system that stabilizes your body. And that's essentially what the core does. Now, when people traditionally train core, they do a plank. And they hold this plank for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 hours. They put weights on their back and they think it is fantastic. But if you're holding a plank longer than 20 to 30 seconds, you're not doing it correctly. Okay, because what we want to establish in a static hold like that is maximal muscle contraction. If you're squeezing your core, if you want to call it that, your abdominal core in a plank position as hard as you physically can, you should not be able to hold that longer than 20, 30 seconds. So let's get that right out there straight away. Next, that's just one aspect of core stability. Your core, as we know it, your abdominal core does the following. It does anti-extension. So it stops your back leaning back and dropping back into extension. It does anti-flexion, so it stops you collapsing forward. It does anti and unwanted rotation when you're walking, when you're jumping. So I think when you're coming off a jump or when you're running, it's stopping you from sliding backwards, it's stopping you from collapsing forward, it's stopping you from rotating unwanted. Because a strong, efficient core means you've got a strong, efficient pelvic floor and pelvis, which means that your gait, and we are bipedal animals, so we're designed to walk on 2 feet, is efficient. And that's what it comes down to. Now, the core also does a couple of things which are very rarely trained. It does vertical stabilization. So that means putting a weight above your head and holding it there and giving your spine structural integrity. Again, that's very important. The next thing that the core does, which is incredibly important to consider, is it does force transference. So by that, I mean driving out of your legs and having that power from your legs transfer into your arms, so a punch. It also means, bracing through your core and then allowing yourself to have the power in an upper body movement. So it's transferring power. Now we then take that force transference in my primal Phoenix one step further. And we then look at fascial conditioning and what fascia means. So fascia and conditioning and force transference, when we're landing, we have a dispersion of your tissue. So the weight disperses evenly as your tissue and the interstitial fluid spreads apart. So when we're doing jumping and crawling exercises, we're transferring weight from your lower body to your upper body, and it's force transferring. It also stabilizes your trunk from going flexion, extension, and unwanted side-to-side movement. So here are my 2 key takeaways for people training your core. Stop doing planks longer than 30 seconds, all right? Next is, so I'm going to give you 3 points. Next is carry something heavy. So put a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a barbell, a weight above your head. If you can put something above your head, if you have shoulder and thoracic issues, go see a physio or a doctor. If you can get the weight above your head, try a single dumbbell above your head, shoulder depressed, so lock down and set, nice long tall spine, and walk 5, 10, 20 meters carefully lower the weight, transition it to your other side, put it above your head, and again, walk 5, 10, 20 meters with an overhead weight. The next thing, the most important, the most effective, the best way to stabilize your core, to get it efficient, to get it working on power transference, anti-rotation, anti-flexion, anti-extension, is get down on the ground and crawl. Bear crawlers, gorillas. I've got about 50 odd variations of crawling in Primalthenics. And, you know, noted, I just had one of my old Olympic athletes call me up the other day and he's like, look, mate, it's 7 weeks to Commonwealth Games. I just can't quite get my stuff. You know, there's just a gap. What is that gap? We went through everything. He's just been doing too much planking. We got him in. He's been doing crawling now for the last 2.5 weeks. He messaged me yesterday to say, mate, I just can't tell you the difference. It's subtle yet profound in how efficient I now feel when I'm doing all my other full body exercises. And I know that's subjective, but if that works for an elite athlete who's looking for a 0.01% improvement, and he's getting more than that, then our general population who are sitting every day, who want to run better, who want to have a tight, lean abdomen and core, get down and crawl, carry something heavy, and you'll notice the difference in your core activation.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So, little question. So, what about farmers carries down by the side?
Perfect. Yep, that's awesome. You can even do, I've got a whole series of carries, a carry series I call it. So there's farmers carry, there's luggage carry, there's goblet squat carry, there's a rack carry, there's a double overhead carry, there's a single overhead carry, there's a single overhead carry with an opposite luggage carry, there's a luggage carry with a rack carry. So there are hundreds of variations.
There's a few
of that. There are a few, and you know, I like to go in depth when I do something. So carries, I've got a carry series coming out in my virtual program shortly. It's going to be a 5 or 10 minute set that'll just get popped up in the video feed, and people can press play and follow along as we do a 5 to 10 minute carry series.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure the people in our gym are going to be loving that. I actually, you'd be proud. Right. I had them all crawling on the floor this morning. I did 4 sets, doing some lateral bears as well, and it's interesting, like whether they know it or not. Like we actually see the difference when we like afterwards, as far as proprioception, their body awareness, their ability to, you know, the TFW warm up, star jump, seal clap, crossover, like the ability to that actually become very, very efficient after doing that. Like we notice a difference. They might not notice it, but we do. So crawling is the way to go. Stop doing sit-ups. Stop doing planks for 10 hours, you freaks. And mate, we'll talk again tomorrow.
Yeah, let's talk about crawling tomorrow. I can go for hours about crawling. I've got about 6,000 words up on my website about crawling. So jump over and look at that.
Awesome. All right, mate. Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.